Welcome, everyone, to the Tethys Shipyard. I am Takeshi Yamato, the Yard Master, joining our host, the Housecoat Gamer.
Yo.
Today we're covering two more Klingon birds of prey, the Qul'dun and the Norgh. And while Ron will be providing the majority of the lore, I have a little bit of my own headcanon lore in that these two designs were not while the Burrell lineage and the core were designed by House Katinga. These two designs were built as sort of competition by another house. I don't remember the name off the top of my head. I think it was the House of Corlock or something.
Regardless,
Yeah.
while he looks up
So
the
yeah,
name of the house, I'll just refer to them as the manufacturer. Or I can just refer to them as MiG, because the Klingons seem to do the whole rival design bureau thing like the Soviet Union used to do. You know, MiG, Sukhoi, Yakolev.
yeah,
So I'll just refer to them as Design Bureau B. Until somebody gives me a proper name.
yeah. I'm working on it. I am working on it. Let's see. Let's see. Klingon. Let's see. House of. Yeah, the House of Corlock.
Alright then. After the incident that destroyed Praxis, we don't really need to mention that one, do we?
No.
The Klingon Defense Forces were in a bit of a bind. With the Raptor class now long since retired due to it being functionally obsolete for the time being, after the Dominion War, that would certainly change.
Yeah.
And the age of the bird of prey coming to be, not to mention the Qud class becoming slowly but surely obsolete, the KDF needed new ships. That said, with tonnage limits imposed by the Khitomer Accords, they needed to produce a small but punching above her weight starship. House Korlach introduced the Qul'dun class as a minor throwback design, taking elements of the now legendary Von Tok class, as well as elements of the Burrell, and of course the impulse deck from far, far superior starships such as the Somra. That said, there was a problem. That problem being the Burrell. Despite being introduced almost 40 years earlier, well, almost, it was almost 50 years later, so I'm just rounding here.
Yeah.
The Burrell just refused to stop being useful. No matter what happened, the Burrell just absorbed the upgrades that were just pushed into it, like the Katinga class, at least to a point. Eventually, the Katinga would have to be replaced with the D-15 Koloth subclass, though it would be functionally called the D-7 by pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
The point remains, the KDF didn't see the point in replacing the Burrell with the Qul'dun, because the Burrell just kept going and going and going. Do I really have to do the whole Energizer Bunny thing? Regardless, the Qul'dun would see a little bit of a resurgence after the Dominion War, mostly because the tonnage limits have been thrown out the window. And they served as destroyer leaders, specifically for Burrell squadrons. That said, while the Qul'dun continues to serve her role, she is a functionally 70-year-old starship. And there's not much they could do with it. So the ship is being very slowly phased out in favor of new pilot Raptors, which perform the same duty while also being significantly harder to kill.
Right. Apologies there. I think we DC'd somehow.
Well, regardless, all I did was just tell the story of how the Burrell just wouldn't go away.
Yeah, like the Energizer Bunny.
It just keeps going and going.
Going and going.
And going. Right up until the
Yeah.
core class, which is more or less just a Burrell with a few modifications.
Yep. Let's see, stream up again?
Yeah, give me a second.
Yep. Anyway, so... Yeah. With the situation like that, the Qul'dun didn't really see that much use. Maybe a few great houses who wanted to... Maybe a few great houses, but... Not really major numbers.
Mostly because the Burrell was cheaper, and the core and the Cavort also cheaper.
Yeah.
And just like the AK platform, what's cheaper?
Yeah.
Regardless, I believe it's time to stat this thing before we move on to our next victim.
Yep. Just one moment while I get back to that. Let's see. Let's see. Qul'dun. Let's see. Qul'dun. There we go. So we've given this thing an entered service date of 2340. And like any other Klingon starship, it had, well, any other bird of prey, Klingon bird of prey, it has the Klingon starship and bird of prey descriptor traits. And it has, for systems values, it has comms 8, computers 9, engines 9, sensors 8, structure 9, weapons 10. For departments, it has 1 point each in command, con, and security. It's a scale 3 starship and has disruptor cannons, photon torpedoes, and a strength 2 tractor beam, as well as the cloaking device and command ship talents. Any ideas for additional descriptor traits?
Other than failed successor?
Failed successor, yeah, that works.
Yeah, gee, for obvious reasons. It tried to do the whole we're succeeding the Burrell thing, but the Burrell just won't go away. It's kind of like the F-15 in that regard. You see, the F-15 was supposed to be long since replaced by the F-22 Raptor. But the Raptor is long since out of production, and the F-15 is still going on.
Yeah. Just like that. Sort of like that, how that meme video goes. The Su-57 boasts that it's the greatest fighter ever made. F-22 goes, really? Really? Release the Eagle. Release the what? Fetch me their soul!
Hellsinger at its finest.
Yeah. Anywho, next up is, well, the successor to the Qul'dun, the Norgh.
Well, it's not really a successor to the Qul'dun, at least in the role.
Yeah, it's more like another attempt. Yeah, this one is definitely a different thing because, well, here I'm going to provide a little bit of lore just to do this. In the aftermath of the Dominion War, everyone was needing to rebuild. Fleets.
You gotta love it when Discord decides to crash on you. Again, people, this is why we don't use scripts. And this, Take, is why we don't use scripts.
Yeah. So, after the Dominion War, everyone needed to rebuild. Territories, fleets, etc. Everything needed to be rebuilt. And the Klingon and some Klingon commanders decided that they did not want a big target like a Negvar or even a Vorcha. They wanted something small, something fat, something zippy, but was still capable of being a good command ship. House Corlock rose to the challenge, revisiting their old Qul'dun designs and revamping them a little bit. The wings are a bit larger. There's extra disruptor cannons, extra impulse engines.
Yeah.
Yeah. This thing is basically a pocket. This is basically a pocket command ship.
In short, they revisited the Qul'dun class and the Vlod class, and basically just built it off of the bones of the Qul'dun, complete with the quad cannons built into the wings.
Yep.
Of course, all it is just a Qul'dun with bigger wings, and a few extra disruptor cannons.
Yeah.
Not that that's a problem. More guns is always a good thing.
Indeed.
Especially when you're trying to make a pocket cruiser.
Yeah. This thing saw a little better, more success than the Qul'dun, though not too much until the 2400s, after the events of Frontier Day.
Yes, and the continual rise of tensions between the Federation and the Empire, especially after the Borg seized control of Starfleet for, I'm going to guess, 12 hours. We have no idea how long that entire incident lasted.
Yeah.
Combine that with territorial efforts, the seizing of what was left of the Gorn hegemony. Some of them voted to join the Federation.
Yep.
Yeah, the Khitomer Accords went bye-bye, as did the Treaty of Alderaan, but who really cares about the Treaty of Alderaan at this point? The Star Empire doesn't exist anymore.
Yep. And so the Norg saw a bit more use, including including a few refits into a much more advanced design called the Ning Tao. I mean, seriously, look at that thing.
It looks like somebody took some Gorn designs as well as some Nausicaan stuff and stuck it to the frame.
Yeah.
Looks like a Klingon X-Wing.
Yeah, it does.
But back to the point at hand.
Yeah.
Marginally more successful as a command vessel. Of course, it's still no match for something far superior like the Katinga class.
Yeah. But that's another vid.
Yes, we will discuss the evolution of that particular boat later.
Yep.
Regardless, I do believe we've run out of boats unless we want to cover... Oh,
Yeah, we can cover those if we want. I think we still have the core to do because
yeah,
we
the
still haven't
core is
fitted the
more of a
core.
later boat.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that one later. But right now we're just doing the Qul'dun and the Norg. Speaking of the Norg, let's stat it.
Alrighty then.
I've given this thing an entered service date of 2379.
After the
Yep.
Minion War.
Yep. And Klingon starship bird of prey descriptor traits. Don't think there's anything more we need to do there. And systems values. Comms 11, computers 12, engines 10, sensors 7, structure 7, weapons 10. And department modifiers, like the Qul'dun, it has 1 point each in command, con, and security. Has disruptor cannons and photon torpedoes and a strength 2 tractor beam. And the cloaking device and command ship talents. And it's scale 3.
Not much need
So,
to change it over.
yep. Yep, like we said, it's basically just a Norg with bigger wings and extra disruptor cannons.
Speaking of, we're going to have to deal with future boats. But that's not in this vid.
Yep.
Bye bye.